Welcome to Devine. My name is Amira, and this is where we use our stories of trauma as a catalyst of strength to awaken the God consciousness within and operate from a place of full awareness, self-love, and healing. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. So, as you can tell by the title of this video, 4 lessons I learned from heartbreak. Of course, unless you're one of those very lucky people to have met your partner or soulmate in high school and you are still with your high school sweetheart, then you have probably gone through a string of heartbreak in relationships. And even if you're still with your high school sweetheart, I'm sure you've gone through heartbreak in other ways. But in today's video, we are going to be solely talking about heartbreak in relationships. And these are the 4 things that I learned in my journey, and I was not one of the ones to meet my high school sweetheart. Early on in high school, I had to make a few mistakes, like a lot of us, to get it right. So without further ado, these are the 4 lessons that I learned from heartbreak. Okay, so lesson number 1 is most likely what was done to you in the relationship, or what caused you heartbreak in the relationship, absolutely does not have anything to do with you. A lot of the times we base our identity and our self-worth on how someone else is treating us, or we make comparisons about ourselves to another person based on what someone is doing or not doing to us. But looking at it from this lens will set you up for a disaster every single time. And this is something that I didn't know earlier. So I, of course, took the heartbreak as a direct reflection of something that I personally was lacking. But as I grew, as I evolved and became more mature and gained this wisdom, I realized that what happened absolutely had nothing to do with me. And the other person had unhealed wounds that they never addressed and that they needed to be addressed. And because they didn't take the time to actually heal parts of themselves that were bruised or hurt in childhood, they took that hurt and began to do exactly what they saw growing up to other people. And a lot of times they might not even necessarily be aware of it, but it could be just a subconscious programming that they picked up from their parents or their caregivers, or maybe they also were heartbroken themselves, and now they're doing these things in other relationships. But it absolutely has nothing to do with you. So if we approach it from that lens, we can not take these things personal, and say that, hey, like, I'm a really great person and I don't deserve any of the things that this person is doing to me, or I didn't deserve any of the things that that person did to me, and it has nothing to do with me. And it is up to that person to heal the wounds within themselves. And a lot of the times people might not want to build this deep level of intimacy, or they might cheat, or they have commitment issues, is because they haven't committed to themselves. They are afraid of intimacy themselves. They are afraid of looking at themselves, because if they really, gave you the love that you're looking for, that means that they would have to also pull back the layers of those wounds that they haven't really been willing to look at and actually heal themselves to be vulnerable enough to get close to you to love again. Because when we're hurt, a lot of times loving fully can kind of be a scary thing. You know what I mean? To give our all to someone in fear that you may get hurt again. So what do people do? They don't give of themselves. They don't want to be intimate, because they then would also have to heal the parts of themselves that are broken. So yes, that's lesson number 1. A lot of times people hurt you, it doesn't have anything to do with you. So don't take it personally. And this leads me to lesson number 2. trust your intuition. And trust me, when I was just starting out in the world in my young 20s, if you would have said the word intuition, I would have been like, yeah, I think I've heard of it. And I probably would have told you that I know what it means, but honestly, I really didn't even know what that meant. And it took experience for me to fully understand what that means. And before we hop into a relationship, our higher selves, they call it trusting your gut, will give you warning signs. They call it red flags, those red flags that you tend to ignore because you have this like high level of attraction towards someone. But just because you're attracted to someone doesn't necessarily mean that they're good for you. So a lot of times we tend to ignore the red flags. We tend to ignore our intuition, even though deep down inside, you really do know that you should not be getting with this person. And looking back in hindsight, I'm pretty sure if you were to make a list of things that this person did early on, you would say, whoa, yeah, I know this person wasn't right for me. But what do? We do it anyways. So we can save ourselves a lot of heartbreak, a lot of tears, and a lot of time if we actually listen to ourselves, listen to our intuition. Like, I remember with me in all my relationships flopped before my lovely partner that I have now. But I remember with me, like, my intuition was screaming at me, and it kind of felt like this, like, like deep anxiety that wouldn't just leave me alone. You know what I mean? Like, I felt uneasy. I felt like nervous in a sense, and it was kind of almost screaming at me. And, in place of this joy and happiness that I thought I would feel, for being with this person and finally having a relationship, you know what I mean? I didn't feel that at all. I felt the complete opposite. But because I wanted a relationship so badly, I ignored it. You know what I mean? So I really think it's important to trust your intuition, even if you do want to be in a relationship, even if you are tired of being alone and you just want to be with somebody. Trust me, it's going to be a lot better to wait for someone that's meant for you, because if you don't, what's going to end up happening is you're going to traumatize yourself in this process, and then you're going to have to do, more internal healing. This could jeopardize your worth and your confidence and your mental health and your stability and your progress in life and where you are and possibly the things that you're trying to accomplish. You won't be able to fully show up as your best version, and it has the potential to just set you back overall in all areas of your life. So it is really important to trust your intuition when you're getting involved in any relationship, whether it be romantic or platonic or even a business relationship. This is a very important key. This takes me to my third lesson, and that is the lesson of patience. Boy, let me tell you, patience is something that we can all stand to learn and get better at it. I know this is something that I have personally struggled with, and I know that we all struggle with it. If you think about a toddler, they ask you for something. I want this. Usually with this toddler, they don't know patience. They expect to get whatever it is that they're asking you for at the drop of a dime. It doesn't matter if you're doing 10 other things, most likely you are, trust me. But they want it. They want it right now. And what do we have to do? We have to teach them patience. Like, hey, sometimes you're going to have to wait for things. Sometimes you can get things immediately, but sometimes things take a little bit longer. But trust me, you're going to get it. And this is so very important in our own relationships, because just like with trusting your intuition, if we're not patient, then we are willing to accept anything that comes to us. But with having patience, that means we're willing to wait for the person or things that are exactly for us. Those things that are meant only and exactly for us. And trust me, when God gives you something, it's going to be way better than what you could have imagined. Like, even in our heads, we might have this list of things that we want, but when God gives you something, it's the things that you want also, plus the things that you need in a person or something else. So there is a, like from a bird's eye view, the universe, the all source that can see all these things from different angles, matching up the alignment and the exact right timing that it's supposed to be. Maybe you're not the person that you need to be yet. Maybe the other person isn't the person that they need to be yet. Maybe there's a level of growth or a level of wisdom that you need internally to be able to handle what it is that's coming to you. So patience is so very, very, very important. And a lot of times we may feel like, oh, well, I don't see it. Where is it? I've been praying for it, been asking for it, been visualizing, I've been manifesting it. Why isn't it here? And it's all about timing. Trust me, God has not forgotten about you. God knows your desires. God gives you the desires of your heart. So you have these desires in your heart, and you keep them there with a trust and a knowing and just a gratitude that those things are for you and that they are coming to you, then trust me, they will come to you. And it's going to be at the right moment when you need it. And if you haven't gotten it yet, then it's not time, or most likely you really don't want it, or it's not meant for you. So patience, 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 because you're going to be so thankful that you waited for something that's healthier, someone who's going to be loving and compassionate for you, and it's not an unhealthy, toxic relationship. You're going to be so grateful that you waited to save yourself a lot of heartbreak in the end. And the last one, the fourth lesson that I've learned from heartbreak, and this is the major one, the big one, something that we all can learn, and something that I have certainly had to learn the hard way, and that is the lesson of self-love. A lot of times these people or relationships come into our lives to show us the unhealed wounds within our own selves. It's like they're holding up a mirror and saying, hey, possibly someone may have did this to you, or possibly you have things within your subconscious that you haven't quite looked at yet, and it needs to be loved and held and transmuted. So we may look at these things as really horrific experiences that were so painful and caused us a lot of a lot of heartbreak. But what they actually do is strengthen us, and they cause us to really go back to the 0 point, to go back within and take all that love that we were looking for from an external validation standpoint, to then pulling all that energy back into ourselves and really figuring out who we are and saying like, hey, I don't need any outside external relationship to make me worthy of love, because at the end of the day, I am always worthy of love. It doesn't matter how many mistakes I've made, how many people have hurt me, I am always worthy of love. And when I fully love myself, I can now operate from that place of love to say, hey, no, I don't deserve that. I deserve love. You know what I mean? And then you will begin to attract those things that you are. And when we fully love ourselves, we're not dependent on anyone else's love. Yes, I know we're all human, and it's a joy to share connection and share love with other human beings, but we don't do it from a place of unworthiness and validation. We do it from a place of, I love myself, and in compassion, I am also loving the other versions of myself as we love each other together. We are coming into the relationship as a whole. You know how people say, you're my other half? Well, really, you're my other whole, and we're two wholes in one union. And I like to look at it like that. So as a major part of my journey, these relationships, the biggest lesson for me has been how to love myself. If the other person isn't showing me the love that I know in my heart that I deserve, I can turn that love to myself. Ask myself, how can I love myself more? What can I do to make myself feel loved? Because it's not the responsibility of others to always be meeting all our needs. And it's very impractical to expect other people to meet your every need. I mean, of course, when you love someone, you know what I mean, you can, out of compassion, out of love, try to meet their needs in service. But it is our responsibility as individuals to, at the end of the day, meet our own needs. So if you feel like someone isn't meeting your needs, how can I meet my own needs? How can I give myself self-love right now? How can I love my inner child? You know what I mean? How can I give myself a hug and wrap myself in this loving energy that I really, really want from the other person? So at the end of the day, I am super thankful for all of these experiences, even though they're very hard and very painful. And I'm so thankful and grateful that I don't ever have to go back to those places and do it again. But it showed me a deeper level of myself. It showed me what I was missing in myself. It showed me what I needed to do. It showed me the work that I needed to put in. It showed me the level of strength that I didn't know I had. And ultimately, it showed me how to love myself and be confident within myself and be a better version of myself. So my take on heartbreak in relationships. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, your experiences on the things that you have learned in heartbreak. And I know that we are all in this together, and we can all help each other learn and grow. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, as this helps me to continue to grow and it pushes my video out to other beautiful souls who may also need to hear this message. So of course, I love you, God loves you, sending you so much love and light, and until next time, take care of you.